Maribel Blue with a new Maribel Blue Unfiltered. As promised, it's much later in the evening, and I finished watching the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. If you watch my Shaws of Sunset before, I am going to talk about the last two episodes of Real Housewives. What is going on with Erica? Is she telling the truth? And I'm reading a lot of things, I'm watching a lot of things, different opinions that are going on about Erica Jane, whether or not she's telling the truth, whether or not she knew. I just find it very difficult for me to understand everything that is going on as far as everything that's coming out of her mouth. Now, like I said before, I found this one YouTuber. She's a legal attorney. And she has been basically sharing on her channel all of the legal aspects of what is going on with Erica, as well as her husband, Tom Girardi. Because remember, she's still legally married to him, even though she filed for a divorce. And who knows when this divorce will happen. But I have to remind myself to use the word allegedly a lot because this is just an open case, and I don't want to come off like I know something when I don't. I don't even know these people, and to be quite honest with you, I don't think I would want to know women like this in real life, especially just after watching these last two episodes. Complete insanity. The first thing that went through my head was, how could anybody want to be in this group? How could anybody want these type of women to be their friends? I wouldn't want friends like that, to be honest with you. None of them. None of them share values. None of them share the values of what I look for in a friend. So of course I'm going to refer to my notes because literally I have like this new book and I've been putting it to good use, and I have been making notes. And I'm going to tell you something. The wonderful thing about this book, even though like this one page is coming out, is that you can put back the pages. I just thought I'd share that. Well, anyway, back to the episode. And let me just say this because I always forget. It's been a long time and I'm getting back into the groove of things, of doing YouTube videos. So, again, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and don't forget to hit that like button. Turn on the bell notifications so that you will get notified when I put up a new video. And if you are coming back, welcome back. I'd love to have you here. And I love to hear all the feedback that my friends give me. I wish they would put it in the comments, though. That would make a lot easier because sometimes my friends are very funny and they have me hysterical laughing. And here's my cat. Okay, I'm back. My cat came in, she opened the door, and I'm trying to drown out the noise that's outside. And I didn't bring my microphone closer. I'm like so excited because I got like new stuff. I got like a new mic stand. I bought a mic from a friend of mine who is no longer using it. I have like a different camera. I have this little light here. So I have everything going because I'm going to do a lot more than just reality TV. I just started a Patreon channel and I'm going to be uploading content on there, but more on that later. Let's get into these two episodes. So one of the notes that I wrote was, why does Erica have a problem being called a liar? Maybe because she's a liar. I never met a person who was so outrageously angry when they are being called a liar. And I'm not saying that being called a liar is okay, but when the whole thing happened with Sutton and she had questioned Erica and the things she was saying, even the day before when she had called this meeting, or whoever it was that called the meeting, and they were all together and they were all in agreement that they had questions about Erica's everything that she was saying. Now, this whole thing with that he fell off a cliff and he allegedly was unconscious for 12 hours, but just beforehand she was sure that's what he was. Now we don't even know. The story with her son going to check on him. Well, here's the other thing. Let me just, before I get into the son thing, how convenient, my own personal opinion, once again, that this man is getting burglarized not too long after Erica leaves him, okay? And all of this shit with the lawsuits were just about to explode, okay? Unless it already had happened. But I'm saying to myself, like, it doesn't take much to pay burglars to rob your house, right? And just take the family heirlooms so that those are protected. Just a little food for thought. Again, this is my own personal opinion. My thing is like when people know that they're about to lose millions of dollars, we're not talking about thousands, we're talking about millions of dollars. They will be desperate and do shit that they probably never thought that they would have to do. Okay. So I'll just leave it at that. But again, it all goes back to why is it that she gets not even like, don't call me a liar, that's not nice. It's more like this violent tendency. We saw it when she was doing it with I could see her face, Teddy or whatever the hell her name is. I think it is Teddy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We all know who I'm talking about. I'm not a fan of hers anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But we saw her do it. And then she did it with Eileen, okay? When Eileen was bringing up this fictitious hypothetical situation and included her son, and she just like lost her damn mind to a point where she just got like really emotional. And I don't understand a person like that. I just wanted to add something as I was editing to say that Erica's anger, just rewatching this video with Eileen, escalated to a point where it was unreasonable. She was highly emotional. She was overcharged with rage, basically over a hypothetical situation. Under normal circumstances, I would think that if somebody didn't like her comment, or if she didn't like what she was saying, she should have just said, listen, Eileen, please don't use my son as an example because I'm very sensitive to that. That to me is a normal response. Her response literally went from 0 to 100 within seconds of Eileen using this hypothetical situation. The thing with Dorit, let me finish. Let me finish. I just want to make my point. Let me finish. It's just like I never hear the ending of Dorit's story. It's just I feel bad for her, but at the same time, it's just like, are you gonna make your point? Yes or no? You know what? I could be long-winded too. I get it. I'm doing this a little faster because I want to hurry up and get it out and edit it tomorrow before the reunion on Wednesday. So I'm sorry that I'm hyper. It could be the ice cream that I ate just a little while ago. But the other thing with her is that Dorit is literally a double sided person. She will say one thing in front of this group. And when Erica is present, she is literally singing a different tune. And she doesn't hide the fact that she's a two-faced person. But yet, when it's brought up to her, like when Garcelle was like, that's not what you said the night before, or that's not what you said last night, and she gave her this look, like, let me finish again. And I don't even think that she even got to finish her point because Garcelle started jumping down her throat. Now, just a short part of Garcelle and talking about the not feeling like she's part of this group, and that asking everybody, have you always felt that you were an outsider and felt different? In that regard, I could relate to Garcelle in the sense that when I was growing up, I was a very plain girl. um I was always made fun of, and even though like I had my friends, they would still sit there and make fun of me. And it's funny because I still have a lot of these friends from school, and we all grew up, like, we're not the same anymore. And I certainly don't hold any grudges. I love my friends, okay? And I would do anything for them. That's how much I love them. And I know that they love me the same. But at the same time, we were kids and we did those things to each other. And I think this is how we develop this backbone, unlike a lot of the snowflakes today that cry over anything. So I understand Garcelle's point of view when she feels like she is an outsider and constantly having to fight to be accepted. But at some point, okay, at some point, you have to stop doing that shit. When she started crying, when Garcelle started crying, everybody was like, "Oh, this was such a beautiful moment. Thank you for opening up, blah, 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 blah." And it's just like, what, 24 hours later, is it going to go back and being the same thing? Even at episode 19, which was the season finale, when she was asking Lisa Renna in that wig that she was wearing, somebody help me out here, asking her, can she extend or reach out? Can she get a reach out to Denise? And when I started looking back at the things that they were doing to Denise, in comparison to, I think, was it Sutton? Damn, and I just watched the episodes and I can't remember. It seemed like Denise got the big kick in the butt, and for no reason, because it's like, who are you listening to? Brandy Glanville? Who listens to her? Really? Like, who listens to this woman? She is nothing. Nothing. She is just somebody that's just trying to get her foot in the door wherever it is that she can get into. And it's like, why is anybody listening to her? Why would anybody listen to Brandy over Denise Richards? And again, like I said, I don't know these women, but from what you see on TV, who do you think you would want as a friend? Okay. So think about that. Lisa Renna got very upset. Well, it's in my time. It's in my time. And it's because Lisa Renna is just as fake as Erica. Because let me tell you something, if something had happened, and I'm just hypothetically speaking, okay, if something had happened where Erica and Lisa Renna had a fallout, which we know that would never happen because Erica is like that dog in that cartoon. It's an old cartoon too. I'm gonna put it up when I remember what it is, but I can't remember. But it was the little dog, and he would follow Spike. That was the dog's name. I don't know what the little dog's name, but he would follow Spike wherever. And that's who Lisa Renna is. She's that little dog following Spike, who's Erica. It makes perfect sense. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, when they were talking about Tom Girardi and how eclectic he was and the storyteller, and he was talking about John Wayne and in his dorm room or whatever. Like, well, we won't even know if that's true. John Wayne has been dead for like ever. It's not like he can come knock on the door and say, well, Tom Girardi is full of shit. Like, we'll never know if that's a true story. I just find the whole thing completely disturbing. Like I said from the beginning, I just cannot understand how you can be married to somebody for over 20 years. Remember, this is not a marriage that happened a year ago. This is not something that happened 5 years ago. You are talking about 20, what is it? Did she say 21 years? 20, I forget. Over 20 years. It doesn't even matter the exact number. The point is that in all of those 20 years, like I had said in my last video, how could you not know? This wasn't one of those wives that didn't really follow up with him that way. Who knows what kind of relationship they had together? At the end of the day, you're going to tell me that in the over 20 years that you lived with this man, you didn't know shit? Somebody explain that to me. Okay. And then let's talk about Erica and Sutton and the what had happened between them and the fallout. Now, a couple of days before, they were in San Diego and she was going off on her. I don't want anything to do with you. I hate you. That's a promise, blah, blah, blah. And apparently, or allegedly, I should say, okay, because only Sutton had heard it, that Erica had threatened her. And she said other people in the room had heard it. I believe it. I believe that Erica would say something to Sutton because she was that mad. Now, just a side note here. I understand that she is in a position that probably nobody ever wants to be in. Okay. Being married to somebody and now they're being sued up the wazoo for not, again, not thousands of dollars, but millions of dollars. Okay. And she talks about how she has zero money, but yet she still has her glam director. How is he getting paid? Unless he has other people paying, he's just doing her a favor because he likes her. Who knows? My thing is that I understand that she's mad at the world and at everything that's going on because now she's involved in the lawsuit. But to get angry at Sutton, like Sutton is the only one questioning. A lot of people are questioning, maybe not to her face. I'm sure that she knows that there's every vlogger on YouTube talking about this, offering their own theories. And like I said before, the other vlogger I'm watching, I think her name is Emily Baker, and I'll put her link so that you can watch her. She talks about all different things. She doesn't only talk about Erica Girardi. She also has Britney Spears on her videos, and she talks more in the legal aspect because, like I said, she's an attorney. So if you're interested in hearing the legal aspects of it, I recommend her channel. I think that she's great and I really enjoy listening to her. So going back to this whole anger issue and with Sutton and telling her all of these things, and then when they're going on a boat ride, she turns around and she's like, she didn't say I'm sorry, okay? Because Erica, when she's talking, she knows what's coming out of her mouth, and she's very careful for using those words unless when necessary. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when she had this conversation with her, well, I was mad and it's going to be all right, and don't take it personal because I just have so many of these things going on. How are you supposed to take that? When I've done something wrong in my past, I don't just say, "Hey, you know what? I fucked up. You forgive me?" That's not a real apology. An apology is that you address your part in what you felt you did wrong and not blame it on the other person. I'm sorry because you. Though you've just lost the apology. Once you use those words, I'm sorry because you is no longer a real apology. This is you now passing the blame off to somebody else because you don't want to take responsibility. And this is what Erica does. And here they are on the boat. Sutton is very emotional because she doesn't know how to take it. She doesn't like being treated the way she did. And also thinking that when they initially had this meeting and she bought all of this paper and she did all of this research and she was standing her ground on how she didn't want to be associated with her because of her association with other people, you have to understand that at some point. You have to understand, if Erica's a businesswoman, you as a businesswoman has to understand the other businesswoman in the relationships that she's built over time, and that she doesn't want those people questioning her integrity. I think Sutton is right. I wouldn't want to be aligned with somebody who may be allegedly involved in some kind of criminal activity. I'm not pointing this at Erica. I'm just using it as a point. I'm talking about me. I wouldn't want to be involved with somebody who may be committing crimes, financial crimes. And then people are looking at me like, hey, well, if she's hanging out with that person, she might be doing the same thing to us, because that's the way people think. So when they, I think it was, I think it was at a dinner when, I think it was at a dinner when Kathy Hilton, and God bless this woman, she's almost like the shining light. She doesn't get involved in their bullshit. She really stays to herself, but somehow she's connected with all of them in one form or another. And she says in one of the episodes, one of these two, I think it was episode 18, Erica goes on this attack, right? And then Kathy Hilton comes in and she says, well, maybe she used the wrong word. Like, she shouldn't have used the word liar or lying. So what other word is there? Like, I just don't know. I have a problem with people who call me their friend, right? Let's just use me again for an example. And we're having conversation about something. Let's say she's talking about her boyfriend, and her boyfriend did some, I don't know, think of something. He did something. And she goes and she tells me the story. And then the next day, she goes on to tell me the story. And then she puts an add on. Oh, I left that out by accident because I didn't remember. Don't fall, pumpkin. Okay. And that's understandable, because sometimes in a thing of trauma and experience or what have you, sure, you can forget parts of the story. It happens to everybody. But at the same time, when you're retelling the story and then you're putting other stuff in there that you really didn't forget, but maybe you just forgot that you didn't tell it, that's when it starts to sound funny. Going back to the burglary, okay? This burglary happens. Something happens with his eyes. I forget what they said, cataracts. And her son comes in. And then I guess when he's driving back home, his car flips over 3 times in the snow. And everybody's like questioning all of this. It really, like I think Garcelle said, it really does sound outlandish to a point where you sit back and you're like, really? Should I really believe this? And guess who? Totally the truth. All true, she said. All true. Lisa Renna has no life whatsoever. She is we should just call her Spike. So at the end of this episode, I questioned when Erica had a conversation with Kyle and Lisa. So those are the two women that she talks to the most out of everybody else, and tells them how she has an issue with Tom's brother, who I guess is going to be the conservator of Tom, and putting him in a home. And she has an issue with that. Even though she makes this comment, well, I'm divorcing him, but I'm not divorcing the feelings that I have of caring for him. Really, Erica? So you were okay with dropping your husband off to work and then driving home, kissing him goodbye, have a nice day, honey, and driving home and packing all of your shit and leaving. Did you leave a note and tell him, hey, listen, I don't want to hear anymore? Shit is about to hit the fan and I want to get a divorce. So in the season finale, Erica makes a comment about how her husband did great things. And I forget who made a face when she said that. And again, it's astounding how somebody can do great things, but yet do the things that he's being accused of doing. Because remember, in this country, it is innocent before proven guilty. You have to prove a person is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt by a juror of your peers. Okay? That is the way this system is supposed to work. Sometimes it doesn't work for everybody like that. And we all know why. And that's a whole other topic. And it goes into politics. And I'm not here to talk about that. Okay. What I'm here to say is that we have a person who is accused of doing despicable things when it came to money, instead of just giving the money to the people that it rightfully belonged to. All in all, wrapping everything up, I don't believe that Erica and Sutton will ever be friends again, due to the fact that Sutton did her due diligence and she read everything that she could and probably still is. And I think the best decision she can make is don't even bother. It's like, why? Why bother seeking out a friendship that just may hurt later on? I think for Kyle is that she's always going to be a staple of the show. She's always going to be there. Um, she's always going to want to have a camera in front of her. And I think that if they add Kathy Hilton to the mix, I think it's a good mix because it gives the show a balance between all of these women. We all know that between Dorit, Lisa, not so much Garcelle, and not so much Crystal, but between the rest of them, there's a phoniness that you can't stop watching. And I think for me, I watch it because it helps me every day because we learn every day. If you're at a point in your life where you feel you learned everything and you know everything, then good luck to you because you're going to be in big trouble later on down the line. Friendships should be based on the comparisons that you share with one another. And yes, there will come a time when there are uncomfortable situations that you may not want to deal with your friend. And yes, we have those friends, and I'm sure I'm one of those people where we get afraid to maybe make a suggestion or say something that maybe our friends aren't going to like and resent us for that. And I always tell people, like, don't ever be afraid to give me constructive criticism because I want to hear that so that I can be a better person. And that's where most of these women fail. They don't want to hear about how they can be better friends because they already think that they're there. And Erica Jane is a prime example of that. She gets offended when you call her or even insinuate her being a liar. She gets offended when you are confused with her stories and what she's telling you. And then she barks at you because of it, or she barks at Sutton, or she barks at Garcelle because Garcelle had made that comment about Tom still calls her. It's like, why would you even say that? This is something that's going to happen for a long time. And I don't know if Erica is going to come back the next season, if that's the money that she's making, and maybe Bravo still wants to be in the mix of knowing all of this, then who knows? It's up to them. But like I said before, that she's basically in Schitt's Creek and not the TV show, more like real life. So that's it. I'm done. I'm going to edit tomorrow. I'm going to put this up as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely want to hear your feedback. I'm going to include all of the links to every blog and Emily Baker, and you can listen to her legal stuff that she talks about with this case if you're into the whole legal aspects of it. And I will include her link there. And again, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.